So when Bert Hellinger is talking about acknowledging what is, he points to a very specific movement in the soul of the self. And yeah, we can say stopping to argue with reality, inside and outside reality, and to meet what is happening, what is, yeah, without denying, blaming, moralizing, judging, actually without splitting. Yeah. Yeah. Splitting reality again and again by saying this is good, this is bad. So acknowledging what is not something we do. I mean, we practice it in constellations, and I will speak later how. But I see it as it's something we become. Yeah? So slowly, as we practice systemic work, like any other beautiful therapy systems that are in the world today, yeah, that can help us to unite the splittings, to unite that which we exile from our consciousness. Yeah, so slowly we become the acknowledging what is. We become one with reality. We become, I will speak about it later, like the water, yeah, the water flowing from down the mountain to the sea. So we become the acknowledgement, the accepting reality when we see through the resistances we have and the blockages for that. So most of the time we are in a resistance mode, which is very known to us as our, in psychology, we can say it's our ego self, or yeah, I can say it's just like a state. It's a state of living in resistance. Yeah. And that's what keeps us individuated with boundaries. And that's the known way for us as humans to know what I like, what I don't like, what I want entering in me or not. Yeah, and we develop it through the childhood. And when we look at systemic view, yeah, so we can talk about all the ways our ancestors, yeah, needed to resist and to not let events, emotional events, world events, family events enter into their psychic. They needed to exile and split parts of reality, and that went down the road to us. So when we look into our entanglements and loyalties with our systemic and cultural, and also it's actually a very basic social instinct. Yeah? To belong means to do the same as, and it doesn't matter what group. Yeah? So each one of us has the group that we belong to, and maybe it's opposed to other people's groups and beliefs and loyalties. So the movement of becoming, acknowledging what is, can be risking our belonging. It can be risking to stay alone with all the emotions that can rise, with not having an opinion and fighting against something like everyone else does. Yeah, so it's risking our belonging to a certain group. when we start to live with reality, accepting reality as it is. And it doesn't mean that we need to agree to reality. Yeah. So it's a very subtle thing, and many people who come to constellations in the beginning, either facilitators or students, there can be a resistance to even offering such sentences of acknowledgement, right? Maybe you know it from your practice, saying something like, yeah, I accept you, or I accept this as it was, or I accept you, my father or my mother, as you are, or it is what it is. Yeah, because that means to accept the consequence. And that's where the pain or the grief begins to come up. So when people come for any kind of therapy, and also for us, constellators, they want to make a change, but usually we want to change the way we want things to change. Yeah. And then comes the constellation and says, wait a minute, before the change, there's a very important thing to do, is to first acknowledge what was and what is, and the consequence of that. Yeah, I see I'm breathing, so I invite you to breathe with me. So what acknowledgement invites is an ingredient that we don't like to feel, and it's vulnerability. And vulnerability invites becoming human. And it means accepting pain and hate, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. In the world, in our systems, in our own biography. So what does it mean to acknowledge? Seeing the facts as facts. Yeah, that's what actually Bert Hellinger was talking, and many spiritual paths are talking about it. Yeah, seeing reality for what it is. This happened, this is how it was, these are the consequences. Ending the inner fight. Yeah. So much of the suffering comes not only from the event that happened or did not happen, but from the ongoing resistance to it. Not only for the ongoing resistance in us, but in the system for many, many generations. And that which resists grows in size, because the people who went through the painful event were not able to accept it. They turned their back to it. And then it goes down to the next generation. And the children are smaller and more vulnerable. And each generation is smaller and more vulnerable as we are born. So the resistance becomes more stiff. Yeah, you can see it sometimes at people's body, when they come in they have this armor, right? So it can feel like plastic or metal. And this resistance is important because that's the way the water of life kept on moving forward, even by freezing. Yeah, that's what trauma does. Parts of our psychic is frozen. Acknowledging what is means bowing to reality. So we know the movement of bowing, right, in constellations. And when I look at bowing, it doesn't mean all the time to bow our heads. Sometimes it comes naturally for a person to bow in front of what happened, in front of one of the ancestors, in front of the inner child, or God, or whatever. Yeah. But it's not from a submission to reality, but from a place of alignment, from a place that says yes to what is true, even if I don't like it. So the image I'm having with the bowing most of the time is that the more we needed to resist, the more we needed to keep our head up and our nose up and to hold on and to breathe up. Yeah, so we know this feeling of holding our breath and keeping us up, yeah, to not collapse. So it's the opposite movement from being vulnerable and soft and watery. So the image that I invite you to have with bowing is actually to, like we have a cork where the fontanella, the babies has this soft place in their head, right? It was open, yeah, the soft place was open so the baby's head could easily go through birth. So each time we invite the people to actually bow, yeah, to actually agree to soften the head, to let this hardness that holding us, we will resist, yeah? We will hold on. We can make it, yeah? To actually soften. Yeah, and that's sometimes the bowing. Yeah, when we see Bert Hellinger work, sometimes he let people bow all the way to the floor, lying on the belly with their hands up, to really let go. It's physical, it's biological. So it's as if when we let it down, we agree to be born to reality. To let the arrogance that we kept up here, yeah, relax. So when we do constellation, we see the way acknowledgement is helpful for clients is that the field shifts from entanglement and chaos to order. When reality is fully accepted in the moment, you can feel the representations, or if you work with objects, something relaxes, something starts to find their place. Everything is becoming softer. Less guilt, blame, rescue, grief can move through the system, the crying or the pain can move on. Yeah, the frozenness that was there in the river of life, yeah, is melting. And typical sentences that expresses acknowledgement, yeah, we know them, and I will repeat, whoever is new to this, yeah, like, yes, this happened, or yes, I agree, or just yes, or just breathing, breathing it in. I take you as you are, or I take it as it is. Or I leave it with you when we need to hand over a guilt that we carried for someone. Or I honor your fate. I choose my life. So reality is the priority. Wait, I have some people to enter here. Okay. So reality is priority. And when we reject reality, it returns until one of the descendants, one of the children, can see truth for what it is. So when somebody comes for you to make a constellation or whatever therapy you do, I always look at it as somewhere in their soul they agree, they want to come to agree to reality as it is. They come for the change, but they need to go through acknowledging what is. Otherwise, we end up in repetition. Yeah, we try unconsciously to fix the past through our present life, and that's we know. Yeah, through the symptoms and repeating patterns in relationships, choices we make. And we continue to produce events in the world that repeat that which was not included. So another vision here is that when we work with even one person, even with one person a week comes to you, just imagine if he accepts reality as it is, and he can really not only, he can really embody it. Yes? How many circles and systems that he lives in are with him in our room. Yeah. So in Judaism, we have this sentence that says, if you save one soul, it's like you saved the whole world. And I like to see it like that. So acknowledging what is an ongoing phenomena. It's not something we need to do. It's something we are learning to feel as we practice constellations for ourselves, with our clients. And we know sometimes when people come to us with subjects that are hard for us to digest, that's the time to go for supervision and see what I cannot accept and I need to acknowledge that comes from my system, so I can be more present and transparent and watery and human when I meet my clients with their sometimes very, very hard facts of life. So I will tell you a short story and then we do an exercise. And maybe some of you know the story, I don't know. It's a Sufi story. Wait, where it is. Just a moment. The story of the sands. So there's a stream of water, and from its source in far-off mountains, passing through every kind and description of countryside, at last reached the sands of the desert. Just as it had crossed every other barrier, the stream tried to cross this one, but it found that as fast as it ran into the sand, its waters disappeared. It was convinced, however, that its destiny was to cross the desert. And yet there was no way. A hidden voice coming from the desert itself whispered, "The wind crosses the desert, and so can the stream." The stream objected that it was dashing itself against the sand again and again, only getting absorbed. "The wind can fly, and this is why it can cross the desert. I cannot do that." So the voice tells him, "By hurtling in your own accustomed way, you cannot get across. You will either disappear or become a marsh. You must allow the wind to carry you over to your destination." "But how could this happen?" asked the river. "By allowing yourself to be absorbed in the wind." This idea was not acceptable to the stream. After all, it had never been absorbed before. It did not want to lose its individuality. And once having lost it, how was one to know that it could ever be regained? "The wind," said the sand, "performs this function. It takes up water, carries it over the desert, and then lets it fall again, falling as rain. The water again becomes a river, and you can go on to the ocean, to the sea." "How can I know that this is true?" asked the river. "It is so, and if you do not believe it, you cannot become more than a quagmire, and even that could take many, many years, and it certainly is not the same as a stream. But can I not remain the same stream that I am today?" "You cannot in either case remain so," the sand whispered. "Your essential part is carried away and forms a stream again. You are called what you are even today, because you do not know which part of you is the essential one." When he heard this, certain echoes began to arise in the thoughts of the stream. Dimly he remembered a state in which he, or some part of him, was it, had been held in the arms of a wind. He also remembered that this was the real thing, not necessarily the obvious thing to do. And the stream raised his vapor into the welcoming arms of the wind, which gently and easily took him upwards and along, letting it fall softly as soon as they reached the roof of a mountain many, many miles away. And because he had his doubts, the stream was able to remember and record more strongly in his mind the details of the experience. "Now I have learned my true identity." The stream was learning, but the sands whispered, "We know because we see it happen day after day, and because we the sands extend from the riverside all the way to the mountain. And that is why it is said that the way in which the stream of life is to continue in its journey is written in the sands." So, as we can see, the teaching here is that true growing up comes from embracing transformation, even when it's scary, like a stream becoming vapor to cross the desert. showing us how change reveals our deeper essential nature. A metaphor for accepting life's flow, surrendering fears, and understanding that our true path is revealed through experiencing change and growth, not resisting it. So I want to invite you for a short exercise. I will put down the representation as I tell you. Let's do it together. I will put it on the chat as well. Okay. So we can do it together in our mind's eye, or you can choose representation, or you can even stand up in the room, and each representation you put a pillow or you move from place to place. Whoever is doing it in your mind's eyes, I suggest you close your eyes as I just lead you through the exercise. So take a breath, close your eyes, lean back, or if you're doing with representation, take a representation for that which I want in my life and still not happening. If you're doing it in your mind's eye, you can just place somewhere in the space that which I want in my life and still not happening. Have a contact with it. Wait that it becomes clear for you, like crystal clear, because there are many things we want, but what is it today in this moment that comes up for you? Does it become clear? Just leave it there and bring a representation for something that reality includes that you reject. So it's a representation for something that reality includes that I reject. I don't know what it is. I will invite it to the space. Something that reality includes that I reject. And I place it somewhere in relationship to that which I want in my life and still not happening. And I'm just emptying out myself and letting it appear that reality includes and I reject. It can be an emotion, an event, a person. Quality, and energy. We let it be there, and we take the third representation. For what or who I am protecting by rejecting. I'm inviting it. I don't know what it is. I want to discover what or who I am protecting by rejecting. I leave this representation and I take a step back and I just look at the three we have. That which I want in my life and still not happening. Something that reality includes that I reject. What or who I am protecting by rejecting. Just take a breath and just stay with the three of them. If you're using objects or felt, you can just look from the side, the way they are placed, the distance, the way they look. And I suggest you take space from the three, even more. If it's in your mind's eye, just take a step back. 2 steps, 3 steps. So you can have a bigger perspective on the three representations. And sense your body. Sitting or standing or lying down, just sense your body. Sense the ground under your feet. Sense your heart. And we will take a moment before we bring the fourth one. I want to invite you to call on to your ancestors. Call them the way you feel like calling them. Out loud in your heart by bringing their representations. Bring them all, the ones you know, the one you never met. Let them look at the three representations with you, through you. Let them look with you at that which you want in your life and still not happening. Let them look with you and see with you that something that reality includes that you reject in order to belong to them. Let them feel what or who you protect by rejecting. Breathe with them. Feel their hands on your back or a big circle surrounding you. And before we bring the fourth representation, I invite you to find a sentence of acknowledging what is. I see what we needed to hide. I see, I feel, I know now. Why I needed to reject that part of reality with you. or it was too painful. I can see now. Find your own sentence that you and your ancestors can feel together today. And when you say the sentence, just feel what happens in the field around you with all of them. And I invite you to take a representation if you're working with objects for a leap of faith. That's the representation, and just hold it in your hands. And if you're doing it in your mind's eyes, just hold it in your body. A leap of faith. As the river did, a leap of faith, letting the wind take it through the desert. Take a breath. Take notice of your heart, of the rhythm of the beating of your heart. Hold the leap of faith and get closer as much as you can today to the other three representations. Maybe it's possible very close by, maybe you can only take one step. That's your leap for today. And let the leap of faith lead you to where it needs to be. And feel it, stand there with it. Feel what it feels like to have the courage and the trust and the agreement and the acceptance to be changed as I acknowledge reality. As I place this in the field of the other three, I want to invite you to step on the first one, that which I want in my life and still not happening. Just feel it now. Maybe it wants to move, maybe it's changing. Maybe it looks somewhere else. Maybe that which I want is changing. And now step off and go to feel the representation for something that reality includes that I reject, and see what has changed there. What's changed in your body, in your heart rhythm. Where does it want to look at? Does it have another name now? And now step down and go to feel for what or who I am protecting by rejecting. And feel what has been changed there for you, for your constellation. Is there a sentence there, a word, a breath? Step off this representation and just look at the four of them from the side. Feel the energy of your mothers and fathers, grandparents, great-grandparents. What's the energy in the field of your constellation now? What is activated in your body, your physical body? Is there a specific place in your body that you can sense more, or an emotion, a vision? Okay, take a breath, release your body. You can come back if you want to open the video. We can say hello for a moment and take some minutes for questions or sharing before we go on. So I think some people went out or came again. I will put the exercise again on the chat so you can have it. Okay. So let's take just a couple of minutes there are more things I want to speak about, but if some words need to bring in to the group, you can either write something on the chat or make a sound or raise a hand. And if not, it's also okay. Yeah, you can also share if you had an acknowledgement sentence with everyone. I'm sure our acknowledgement of reality sentences can be useful for all of our lives. Yes, Neta. Hey.
The end was the recognition that I had to go through what I went through to be who I am now. And yeah, it's like it's so obvious, but of course it allows this movement. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's obvious and it's not. It's not, yeah. It's an ongoing process. And many times I see it very connected to our aging. You know, there are periods in life where we are still fighting with reality. And then suddenly comes an age where, well, I will not name the age, but I see some people nodding. There's an age that, you know, just happens. It just drops on us. That's it. And if we keep on fighting and we see people fighting around us, right, in reality, it can be very painful and and even more painful than painful, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I continue and I will leave more space after for you to say something. Okay, I will do like this. So let's see. Acknowledging what is. Yeah, it's we use the metaphor of the water and the river going through the desert, and it's kind of like the watery way of the heart to be human. And as we said before, as more and more generations couldn't open their heart to accept reality, the later generations needed to armor themselves more and become very rigid and closed-hearted, because the pain is much bigger than what they can hold in their psychic. But we are here, and we can say we are representations of humans. We're representing everyone. We are here doing the work. And so I go back to Bert Hellinger. Acknowledging what is doesn't mean approving what happened, but it means releasing the inner fight with the facts and letting what is true just be true. And I spoke about vulnerability and how vulnerability connects also to water, because if you let yourself really feel the quality of vulnerability and water, there's something similar in their capacity to change with reality, right? As you put water and you imagine this river going through all the rocks and all the trees and whatever it needs to go through, the hard stones and earth. And so we can say the same happened to us. We are here alive because something did happen. Some water did go on. Life went on. We are here. We are alive. There's a success in it. So inviting vulnerability means a portal. It's kind of a portal to stop the splitting. It means like the water can hold everything in it, also vulnerability can. It can hold the perpetrator and the victim in the same field. It can hold that which was excluded and that which is excluding. And this is the field we work with in constellation. It's a very human field that expands our hearts to include everything. More and more and more and more. It's infinite, actually. So the more we practice constellations, it actually pushes our button of vulnerability. It invites us to open our hearts and to see where we are still get entangled and get angry with someone. Doesn't mean only in constellation we get angry with someone on somebody or something that happens in the world. Yeah, the next exercise we'll use some of the events in the world that are happening now, which is a good way to work and practice vulnerability and acceptance. So, in order to prepare for the exercise with something of the world event, I will give you another list of acknowledging what is. Yeah, that it is based on Bert's work. So as we said before, reality comes first. Yeah? Healing begins when we stop arguing with the facts of what happened internally and in the family system and in the world. Acknowledgement is not approving, but saying this happened and this is part of our reality. We spoke about resistance as creating suffering. So much pain created by saying no to something, resisting, and also resisting to resisting. Yeah, that makes even more pain. Denial, blame, revenge, it's all sorts of resistance. Superiority, self-punishment, fantasies, yeah, all the way we don't accept what is. We spoke about the humble yes, the bowing, right? How it restores the flow when we bow to reality, especially to what is bigger than us. Life, fate, death, parents, consequences. Then love can move. Can love and life the melting in the constellation happens. Include what was excluded. We mentioned that, we mention it again. So the system suffers so much when someone or something is rejected or hidden. And that was the small exercise we did. So acknowledging gives the excluded a place in the heart. Respecting what belongs. So we know it from the orders of love, that each person has their place. And when we accept that place, things settle. Dropping the claim, dropping the judgment and accusation. It shouldn't have been this way. I was deserved something else. I want them to change. Only if this happened, then I will. All this energy of claiming. It's a resistance to reality. And simple sentences of healing, that we talked about. Yes, I agree. I agree to the facts. It doesn't mean, again, it's very confusing for us sometimes, because do I agree to what happened, to what's happening now? Agreeing to the facts doesn't mean morally I agree or I join. Yeah, so that's the list for today. Okay. So the systemic view is inviting us to find the trust, right? We spoke about courage and trust, to look at that which was not acknowledged. And as I was preparing for this meeting, I was feeling my body, and I invite you to feel your body and how in a miraculous way our eyes are to the front. Yeah, and when we feel the back of our body, we cannot see. And that's an example for what symbolically happens to us when something terrible or painful or too much is happening to us. There's a part that looks forward and sees, and a part that doesn't see what happened. The part that saw what happened and the part that doesn't, that's unconscious or blind to what happened. Or we can see it as the part that looks at the event and freezes and feel helpless, cannot do anything, and the part that hides in the back. I don't see, I don't hear, I don't speak. So what I want to invite you now is to actually sense your body. I will put the next exercise in the chat. Okay. Or where's the chat? Okay. So you can also do it while sitting or standing. But as you sit, I want to invite you to put a representation for a world event that I turn my back to. So in your mind's eye, or you can take a representation and put it behind your back, behind your chair. You don't have to choose what it is. Maybe immediately something comes up. There are so many events, just open the news, right? But maybe something wants your attention today, specifically. So representation for a world event that I turn my back to. Take a moment to feel. It can be somewhere in the world, it can be in your own land, it can be a government, a person, whatever takes you today. Just see what rises, what event is forming, manifesting for you to work with today. We invite now representation for those who I am standing with by keeping it out of my sight. Those who I am standing with, keeping it out of my sight. So as we say the systemic view, we are never alone, we always belong. I turn my back to this world event with others. We bring representations for them. How many come? How many stand with me, turning their back to this world event? It can be environment, political, whatever. Economic, natural. And how many I'm standing with my back, not wanting, it's too much. I'm too small, I cannot. I have nothing to do. I'm helpless. Or I hate it, or I'm sick of it. And feel what is it like when all the people who are like me, turning my back to that, when I stand with them, yeah, what happens to my body? Do I relax? Do I become tense? And we invite to the field a representation for those who look at the world event, who look at this world event. I invite a representation. It could be an object, or in my mind's eye, I can invite all of those who look at that, who are turning their eyes and they see what I'm turning my back to. Maybe I know them, maybe I don't. Maybe I read about them. Maybe I'm against them. I just let them come and join the field. Maybe they are on the other side of the river. And I sense my body as they join. What happens to me and my group, which I'm loyal to, when they come? Take a breath. Maybe your body becomes more tense because it's more collective. Just take a breath, relax. Nothing to do, just sense. And I invite all of you to bring a representation for an event in your family system that keeps you where you are. An event in my family system that keeps me where I am with my back to this world event. And I want you to hold it as we did before, just hold it close. You don't know which event you invited to the field. It's an event we are very much entangled with and loyal to that keeps me with my back to that which I don't want to look at. Maybe you feel it in your body, maybe you feel it in some place in your body, maybe some event that your family system went through comes up immediately. And it's very dear to you to hold it. It's what you went through. Your culture, your belief systems, your tribe. And we're not looking for a change, we're looking for acknowledging what is. And as we did in the previous exercise, I want you to look around at the group of people you're standing with your back to the event. I needed to cough some emotions here. And I want to invite you to find an acknowledgement sentence. And it can start with, this is what happened to us, to my family. And this is why I cannot turn my face to look. Just take a breath. I first need to sense and feel my own system. Yeah, let it come. Maybe some movement or drumming on your body. Some feelings are stuck. Sounds, words. Let it move. Let the water move through your body. Maybe some shaking, yeah. And see, just see for yourself what's available. Do you have enough resource to feel also the other group, to turn your face and to see what's behind your back? Maybe yes, maybe no. It's not an obligation, it's an invitation to see if it can happen today. And if he does, you can do it very slowly to turn and look. If he doesn't, you acknowledge your reality. I cannot see it. Maybe in the future I cannot see it now. I need to stay with my beloved tribe. I still need it. And if you did look back, just take a few breaths with it. Whenever you need, whatever you need, take care of your body. Tears are coming, or maybe you can feel the water in your body. Maybe the tears are stuck, as in my body. Coughing is the beginning of the tears coming up. The water wants to move. The river wants to continue flowing. The humanness to see the good, the bad, the ugly. And if for a moment we could just imagine us, all of us, sitting in the same room, giving hands, and letting the water of the tears fill up buckets, wailed, moist the world, how hard it is, how much water it needs. The human hearts. Yeah, just release your body, take a breath. Shake, touch, release all the representations, come back here. If you need to stand up and just stretch. So we can see, yeah, I wanted to give you a taste of how actually everything is connected, right? Our biography with our family system, with the ecosystem of humans. So we cannot go and save the world, but we can start by acknowledging our own reality step by step. And this can, yeah, moist the world a bit. So I want to have time with you now. If you want to share or just talk a bit, share your hearts, say like that.